Howdy, High Tides. I'm Jed Hoffman with Beach Film News, and I'd like to welcome you to the first Beach Film News of 2021. That's right, it's the new year. We're finally out of 2020 and into 2021. You know what they say, new year, new me. Usually, I sit in that chair over there when we do this, but this time, I'm in this chair. Ain't that cool?
Hey High Tides. One of the most challenging years in recent times just ended, and a lot of people are looking at 2021 to be a better year. But recent events have made that hope doubtful. On Wednesday, January 6th of 2021, a group of Trump supporters stormed and breached the US Capitol.
Donald Trump encouraged his loyal base to fight to overturn the result of this bitterly contested election.
We're going to walk down to the Capitol and we're going to cheer on our brave senators and congressmen and women. And we're probably not going to be cheering so much for some of them, because you'll never take back our country with weakness. You have to show strength and you have to be strong.
We're here to support, if violence happens, like it happens, but we're not going to start it. We're just like here to defend ourselves.
With blood.
Yeah.
Sorry, say that again.
I'm a Mexican immigrant. I support Trump. Freedom is paid for with blood, and tyranny always masquerades itself as safety and security, and that's what we're fighting against right now.
But how did it get to this point? Earlier this year, President Trump called the Georgia Secretary of State to ask about the election and how he thought the votes were fraudulent.
And the people of Georgia are angry, the people of the country are angry, and there's nothing wrong with saying that, that you've recalculated.
Well, Mr. President, the challenge that you have is the data you have is wrong.
So, look, all I want to do is this. I just want to find 11,780 votes, which is one more than we have, because we won the state.
He went on social media and has been disputing the election results and encouraging his followers to attend rallies. After Congress was sent to confirm Biden's win, Trump supporters started rallying the US Capitol. With President Trump's term coming to an end, these recent events have painted him and America in a very negative light.
The demonstrators who infiltrated the Capitol have defiled the seat of American democracy. To those who engaged in the acts of violence and destruction, you do not represent our country.
And we can only hope our next president doesn't commit the same mistakes he did.
I've been saying for now well over a year, he is not fit to serve. He is not fit to serve. He's one of the most incompetent presidents in the history of the United States of America. And so the idea that I think he shouldn't be out of office yesterday is not the issue. The question is, what happens with 14 days left to go or 13 days left to go? And I think that what 81 million people stood up and said, it's time for him to go.
This is dependent on you, High Tides. Most of you will be able to vote soon, and some of you can already vote. You will be the ones who choose this country's future, so make sure to inform yourself on what is happening in our country. Have a good day, High Tides.
Now let's take a look back at this week in history.
Good morning, High Tides. It's been a while, but it's time to get back to this week in history. This week's segment has a little bit more to do with automobiles throughout our history. With that being said, on January 11th, 1923, Carroll Shelby, the father of the Shelby GT350 and the Shelby GT500, was born. Carroll Shelby has won many championship races over his career, including the Le Mans in 1959 and a Formula One championship. Following his retirement from racing, he set up Shelby American Vehicles to manufacture unique cars, including the Shelby Cobra.
To follow.
on January 12, 2013, the U.S. government denied a petition to build the Death Star in our galaxy. The U.S. government responded to a petition to build the Death Star and super laser from the Star Wars movies, providing a humorous response stating that the United States simply did not have the $850 quadrillion to build that in our galaxy. Have you guys ever imagined driving around in a soybean-based plastic car? Well, on January 12, 1942, Ford created a plastic car due to the wartime material shortages of World War II. The Ford Motor Company, one of the first leading manufacturers of the mass-produced vehicles, had registered for a patent on the plastic car. This was the date that the patent became official. The plastic that was used to make this particular model of car was derived from the soybean plant, which in my opinion, it didn't look too shabby. And to finally conclude this week's segment, on January 16, 1953, for the first time, the Corvette, one of my favorite cars, is brought to New York. The first Corvette was presented at a car show that took place in the Waldorf Astoria Hotel. The body of these sports cars was made from fiberglass, giving the car a unique look, as well as making it super light.
While history has had many governments, what about our own student government?
The Student Government Association is a club found in high schools that gives pupils opportunities to develop leadership skills by organizing and carrying out school activities and service projects while representing the student body. Here at Miami Beach Senior High, the current goals of our student council include the following: to foster open communication among the students, teachers, parents, PTSA, and the community at large, to engage in more fundraising for school events, to support the greening of our schools through recycling projects and educational events, to promote school spirit, and to make students aware of the causes and consequences of drug abuse. Our student government is currently divided into two main units: the Student Council and its class boards. The Student Council Board oversees the overall Student Government Association, also known as SGA, and the class boards oversee their individual classes. Some events that SGA has organized include the following: the Halloween and Thanksgiving movie nights, Spirit Weeks, Homecoming of 2019, the Holiday Toy Drive, and the Holiday Movie Marathon. If you are interested in joining our Student Government Association, please visit miamibeachseniorhigh.com, navigate to the Activities and Clubs area, click SGA, then click the Student Government Association option on the drop-down. For more information about your class, you can navigate to our website again and click your class name instead of SGA. Here are some more flyers with information on how to join your SGA or your class board. Thank you so much for watching.
Now that we know who runs the school, let's see how safe it is. It's time for the weekly COVID update.
Hey, High Tides, 2020 is over and COVID-19 cases are the highest they have ever been. As 2020 ended, cases began to rise and have been the highest they have ever been this 2021. Based on observations, this could be due to the holidays. People went out, celebrated, and COVID-19 was disregarded. On January 8th, the U.S. observed the most cases it has ever had at 300,594 cases alone that day. The cases in the U.S. began to skyrocket in October of 2020. And from there, they have rose, as you can see in the chart. Apart from cases rising, so did deaths. The most deaths there have ever been in the U.S. was on January 7th, with 4,112 deaths that day. Deaths have not been stable. They just go up and down and increase slightly every day, as you can see in the chart. The top countries with COVID cases are the U.S. at number 1, the UK at 2nd, Brazil at 3rd, Russia at 4th, and then India at 5th. Now let's look closer at the U.S. California is at number 1, Texas is at number 2, Florida is at number 3, New York is at number 4, and Illinois is at number 5. With cases rising this 2021, it is important that we stay safe. So keep calm and wear your mask, High Tides.
Okay? Alright, yeah. Okay, I'll tell. We've got a secret transmission from the CIA, and it's a piece about spies.
Welcome to Super Secret Spy Time. Basically, the CIA. We all know them, we all love the movies they've inspired, and we all know what they're famous for. Spies. Basically, over the years, they've come up with some really cool stuff and insane methods to spy on their enemies. However, that does not mean that every single one of their inventions has been successful, or smart for that matter. So, it's time to make fun of all the stupid stuff they came up with in the 60s to the 90s. So first up, we have pigeon cameras. Basically, the pigeon cameras were little reverse backpacks worn by pigeons. The CIA used these to take better pictures than the ones that were taken on planes, since pigeons could fly lower. Since pigeons are so common, it was much easier to fly undetected. Next up, we have dragonfly insectothopter. Basically, this was invented in the 70s, and it was a robot that was meant to look like a dragonfly. It was to collect intelligence and was actually pretty well made, so why was it never deployed? Well, in tests it was perfect, but the moment you added any sort of crosswind, it was totally useless. Last, but most certainly not least, my personal favorite, Project Acoustic Kitty, aka cat spies. The CIA had high hopes that cats could be perfect spies, so they spent $25 million on surgery for cats to implant a microphone in them so they would pick up audio. They then tried to train the cats to sit next to enemies and listen in on the conversation. So the cat was trained, and upon release, it walked into the street and got hit by a taxi. Here's how I imagined that meeting going. Hey boss, remember that cat we trained to be a spy? Yeah, I love that little rascal. He was my best friend. Well, anyways, what happened? Was the mission a success? Yeah, it kind of ran into the street and got run over. What? That could not have been fun. So $25 million later, and the CIA concluded that cats could not be trained. Well, that's it for the CIA. I just want you to think of this next time you think about how cool our government is, because in reality, it's just kind of stupid.
Now, it's almost the end of the episode, so it's time for Second Opinions. Last episode, we asked you, the viewers, do you like streaming a movie or going to a theater to see it live more? And the answer was streaming. You guys sure are a bunch of couch potatoes. This week, we're asking you a question of the biblical proportion. Did you go anywhere for winter break, or did you just stay home, chill out, max and relax, and all cool? Well, scan the QR code on the screen now, or check out the first link in the description to answer that question. Before we leave you, here's a short film by Javier Aliaga about going to school during a national pandemic. Till next time, I'm Jed Hoffman. You've been you. Did you like my shirt? Goodbye.